Coming in from 2002, we are entering a very dark period here now, folks. Inferno dips its toes. Inferno turns the heat up a little bit. Yeah. We're about to dive into the fucking volcano with this next series of entries. 2002, Hellraiser Hellseeker. This is my number 10.
3.
You're out of your fucking mind. This is the same thing as Inferno, but worse because the character's less interesting. Less interesting.
So this is what I was alluding to. This is the better version of the previous entry. Yeah.
In your mind.
In my mind.
Your mind. This is directed by Rick Bota. This is the first of what I will call the Bota trilogy. He directed Hellseeker, Deader, and Hellworld. What a resume, folks. I have a question. What the fuck is a Hellseeker?
He seeks hell.
Right, it's a dumb fucking title. No, they're not all dumb because like Bloodline and Inferno, those are kind of cool titles. Yeah. Hellseeker? Deader is also a dumb title. Hellworld, but like Hellseeker? It's probably I think it's the worst title in the whole series. Yeah.
You think Hellseeker is worse than Hellworld?
Yes. Because Hellseeker's not a word. Hellworld is a word. There is a Hellworld.
Yeah.
That's real, Mark.
I mean, if you're looking at the names of any of these movies.
You put this at 3.
Yeah.
So what?
I enjoyed watching this movie.
And your number 2 was the original?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mark put Hellseeker just below the original.
A little heavy on the evil, huh?
Wow. All right. Okay. Yeah. This is where we're at. This is the standards of this one. I didn't think this was going to get as heated as it was, but I'm getting heated now.
Yeah.
I'm not liking these picks, Mark Skews. I was expecting you were going to be like me and just kind of have them all middling and then maybe a few low, but you are weirdly putting these shit 2000s ones higher, and then the early sequels, you're just like dunking on them.
You can watch this and just sit back and watch a movie.
Yeah. And enjoy, too. Yeah. Enjoy a film. All right, let's get into it. It opens with a couple driving down a quiet road. The man is Trevor, our new protagonist, played by...
what's his name? Don't actually have his name, but...
Dean Winters.
That's right.
Character actor. He's in all kinds of shit. He always plays this character.
Yeah, kind of an asshole.
An asshole. He's playing an asshole character.
Oz. He was in Oz.
Sure.
He was. He's the.
I know him from 30 Rock. He's like the douchebag boyfriend of the main female.
He's in all the insurance commercials.
He's in all kinds of shit. He's kind of got a unique voice. Whatever. So Trevor is our main character. Trevor immediately loses control of the vehicle he's driving, and it careens off the side of a bridge into a river. Trevor escapes, but the woman gets stuck inside. He dives back down, but it's too late. The woman's dead. Trevor then wakes up in a hospital where a strange doctor says, "It's nice to see you again." What? See you again? What does that mean? Trevor then asks, "Where's my wife, Kirsty?" Kirsty? Are you referring to Kirsty from Hellraiser Part 1 and 2? Yep.
Yes, we are.
I didn't notice this at first because she doesn't look the same at all. It looks like
she does.
Come, get out of here. It just didn't look the same. She looked like a grown woman now all of a sudden. The original, she looked pretty young.
Well, because now she's a grown woman.
Grown woman, right. But I didn't quite catch it. I didn't catch it at first. I was like, I think I paused and was like, I wonder if they got the same actress. And it was like, oh, it is actually the same actress. She returned, So Kirsty's back, but she's missing. The doc then instantly sedates him, and he wakes up again in surgery where he's having like open surgery on his brain, which is just like a weird little scene. Yeah. He then wakes up a third time, and immediately I'm like, oh no, we're in Freddy's Nightmares territory. We're just going to be constantly falling asleep and waking up just like drop of a fucking, what is the expression? Drop of a hat? Yeah, this is this movie. It is constant that's this movie. Is just waking up, falling asleep, waking up, falling asleep. Bunch of shit happening around the character.
Yeah, there are things that are happening though, so you don't know whether or not the hallucinations.
Oh, you know.
Are true.
Oh, you know. You know it's all bullshit, Mark. You know. I know you know.
Yeah.
You know it's all bullshit. Okay. So then he wakes up a third time, and a female doctor, Allison, why I wrote her name, I have no idea. She's like, don't worry, we're going to help you recover from your severe head trauma. And he's like, what? I've got head trauma. Then Trevor again asks where his wife, Kirsty, is, and the detective shows up, and he's like, I'm wondering the same thing. And he informs Trevor that she's been missing for over a month. Because it's been over a month since the car accident. So I guess he was in the hospital the whole time?
He was in a coma. Yeah.
Was he in a coma though?
And the reason why they were drilling his head is they're trying to trigger memories to help him remember what happened.
That's how that works. Yeah. You just take a drill to a man's brain. Yeah. This is Freddy's Nightmares logic here. Trevor then returns to his apartment and reminisces about his missing wife, Kirsty. The next day at work, he finds a card that says all problems solved, which triggers a memory of him going to some sweatshop. Then his female boss sexually assaults him, and it triggers another memory of him having an affair with this woman. And this is another recurring thing. Again, it's like he's constantly waking up and falling asleep, but then he's also like, he'll touch something and it triggers a memory. Because the whole movie is about Trevor trying to get his memory back for the most part. Yeah. He is, maybe they should have called it Hellraiser Memory Seeker. Maybe that would have been good. Yeah.
Remembery or something.
Yes, remembery. Hellraiser Remembery rolls right off the tongue. It's better than Hellseeker. Yeah. Then Trevor goes to see the detective who points out that there's no... The detective is basically just like trying to implicate that Trevor was involved with Kirsty's disappearance. And he's like, we didn't find any foul play at the crime scene where the car went off the road. Kind of strange that happens.
Yep.
And then that triggers more memories. More pointless shit happens as women try to throw themselves at Trevor. Trevor starts seeing things that aren't really there. Like he sees the Cenobites killing Gwen on a home video. I wrote down Gwen. I don't even remember which character Gwen was. One of the women. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So he starts seeing the Cenobites, much like Joseph in Inferno. He starts having visions of the Cenobites appearing and doing things. And he keeps waking up and teleporting around. Now he's at home. Now he's at work. Now he's at the police station.
Gwen's the woman he works with. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
He has a memory of being given a circular lament box, which I thought was kind of cool. I was like, it's the first time they actually tried to deviate from the basic design of the lament box. I was like, oh, it's a circle this time.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's not saying much. That doesn't save this movie. It's like, oh, you made a circle box.
That justifies everything.
Cool. Yeah. That gets you a number 3 spot. Then Pinhead shows up at the 35-minute mark and stabs Trevor. But of course, that's not real because nothing's real. And this goes on and on and on until finally it all ends the exact same way Inferno does, with the revelation that the character has been in the Cenobite hell world the whole time to answer for his crimes. What? Who cares? Did you like my plot summary?
It is the plot summary of a man who does not enjoy this movie whatsoever. Yeah.
Take it away, Mark. Why is it number 3?
So again, I thought that this one is just a good standalone story. If you are okay with the idea of the Cenobites transitioning to sort of hell's torturers, then this, I think, does a good job of it.
This isn't the one that does it. There's a later one that they basically say, oh, the hell world is actually hell.
Yeah.
It's not this one, but you're right. They're turning the Cenobites into hell's minions.
Yeah, like the people who execute your damnation, right? Yeah. I like the idea of bringing Kirsty back. I think.
Okay, no, let's talk about Kirsty. I got a lot to say about Kirsty. Why bring her back at all?
You don't have to.
She's hardly in the fucking movie. You bring back a legacy protagonist in the series, one of the only at this point, and then you just sideline her. She shows up at the beginning and the end, and that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, she drives the whole plot. right? Because you realize at the end that she's the one that's alive and he's been dead the whole time.
But it's such a waste of a legacy character to like, shouldn't she have been the main protagonist?
Well, it's also the fact too that
it's so minor.
She knows that she can make a deal with Pinhead, right? Because what happens is,
which we'll get to that, but I also think that's stupid.
Yeah. I think the whole point of the Hellseeker name is that our character, Trevor, is trying to, he's dissatisfied with his marriage and he wants to get out. So he gets Kirsty to open the puzzle box so that Hell will come and claim her.
What have you done?
It's just a puzzle. Open it up.
I trusted you. God damn it! How could you do this to us? You told me you loved me.
Just open the fucking box.
We were uninvited guests at your little celebration.
Right? Except that he doesn't factor in on the fact that she knows what she's doing. She's dealt with the Pinhead and the Cenobites before, and she's better at this than he is. Right? That's when she makes the deal. I'll give you 5 in exchange for 1. Right?
Mark is making this sound so much cooler than it actually is in the movie. So like most of the movie, Kirsty, you just see her in flashbacks and like little snippets of like Trevor like reminiscing.
She's not in the movie with him anyway. Yeah.
There it is, Mark. She's not in the movie. Right. She's really not in the movie until the end, because they reveal that Trevor was actually planning to kill Kirsty the whole time.
Tonight was supposed to be the night, Trev, remember? Oh, right. You don't remember anything. Well, let me remind you about your plan. We'd kill Kirsty, make it look like a suicide, you get all our money, and we'd split it 50-50. Huh? But none of that's gonna happen now, is it? You had to go solo with your little car accident bit, and then you fucked it all up. What were you thinking, Trev?
So it turns out he had some thing where he was going to kill Kirsty, which was his wife, and he was planning this with like his coworker, and they were going to like split the insurance money. They had some like skeevy plan.
Well, she's getting the inheritance from the house, from the big house in the first one, and they want it.
Oh, okay, that's why. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So her first line of dialogue is in the last 15 minutes of the film.
Well, but again, she's not the main character of the.
Well, then why have it be her? That's
you don't have to.
So that's it, right? Like, why was it her? And like, and like a point. Okay, so then she shows up at the end, and it turns out that like, so she shows up, and then it's showing you this through flashbacks, and it's like at this point, Trevor knows he's fucked, and Pinhead's like, well, this is what actually happened, and it shows like when Kirsty opened the box, Pinhead's like, now I've got you. Which I also hate this version of Pinhead because. Why is he trying to like? We're such a far cry away from the neutral beings trying to explore the reaches of sensation. Yeah, like so now it's just like, that dastardly Pinhead. He's after Kirsty again. Like, are you Michael fucking Myers? And you just keep going after Laurie? Like, fuck off. Yeah. But then he's trying to get revenge on her, and then she's like, oh well, I got a deal for you, buddy. Here you go. You ready? I'm going to give you 5 whole souls instead of my 1 measly soul.
Wait. What if I make you a deal?
Interesting.
I will bring you 5 souls in exchange for mine.
You would bring them to me yourself.
You'll get your 5.
And I'm like, are you fucking Freddy Krueger? What do you care? What does the amount of souls matter? What do souls matter? What does that mean?
Right, but we're at this point we're well past the what the Cenobites were in the first one, right? So, all right, if they're gonna start making up new canon for these characters, then go ahead, like. You know.
But like, why does so Pinhead wants souls? But then that's my next point. So then Kirsty's like, all right, I'm going to give you 5 scumbaggy people that are, who is she to pass judgment? Yeah. Okay. The one guy I get, the boss. Okay. I guess she was having an affair. I don't know that that's a fucking hanging
one of them's
sentence,
a prostitute as well. Yeah. Well, no,
it's a bit. So then Kirsty's also a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like Kirsty's not good. Like you don't get to just decide who lives and dies.
So that's why I was saying in the first one, she's presented as an innocent victim. But by this point, she's definitely involved and she's a part of this. Like she knows how to play this game and she is by no means innocent anymore.
then they're like, but speaking of that, Kirsty, like, how does this work? Kirsty, so normally if you want somebody to be fucked over by the Cenobites, you're like, here, play with this cube.
That's right.
But Kirsty doesn't do that. She just murders them. How does that send their soul to Pinhead? How does that work?
Well, okay, so
she goes around and murders people, and then that somehow sends them to the hell world? To Pinhead?
Sure. I mean,
again, like, how does it... Mark, explain.
None of this is going to make
Mark,
sense.
explain your tightly written film to me. I want you to explain this.
Oh, no. Let's not go that far. I mean, if I compare the plot of this one to, say, Le Marchand and Bloodlines, right?
Way more practical. Made more sense.
It doesn't. Neither one of them makes sense.
No,
but at least this one you can kind of follow along, like what they're trying to do, right? Like it doesn't connect very well.
No,
but yeah.
Apparently, there was a scene that that was supposed to be in the film. I don't know what it was going to be, that was going to connect this more to 1 and 2.
Yeah, they cut it out.
So of course they cut that scene out, right? Because we don't need that shit.
Yeah.
Get that shit out of here. Yeah. Another thing I want to dunk on, the early 2000s editing. So this movie's 2002.
Yep.
Oh, you're really starting to suck shit now. And this is why I can't in good conscience put these films above 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Because 2 and 3 and 4 still look like films and most of it's practical. Early 2000s, they're such ugly fucking movies. We've got terrible editing. Like they start doing these like effects to try to enhance the editing. You know what I'm talking about?
Like like
and they'll do like a quick like zoom in to the character and shit like that. We also get like CG, but like really bad CGI. So there's like the CGI eel that comes out of his mouth. He spits out. And then at one point, like the detective morphs into a guy and he's like a second head and it's this shitty CGI head that's like attached to the other guy. And like it's really showing its age. I had a funny thought about this. I think you'll appreciate this. So there is a documentary series called In Search of Darkness. We are both huge fans of this series. Yes. It was a 3-part series. Each like documentary is like 4 to 5 hours. Yep. It's like 15 plus hours of total screen time to watch all 3 parts of this. And it covers like every major horror film from the 1980s. And that's the whole thing. It's like that documentary is just it's almost like a video encyclopedia of these films, right? Yep. And it specifically tackles the 80s. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, are we ever going to get to a point where people are going to be nostalgic for this era of horror films, this early 2000s, literally the worst sequels in all of the major franchises? Like, what would an In Search of Darkness be for the 2000s?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, is this going to happen? Like, are people going to go like, oh, remember how bad these plots were? And remember how bad the effects were? And everything was early CG. And remember they started doing the shitty editing and everything was color corrected? Like, are we going to get nostalgic for this?
For that? I don't know. I mean, like, when was, like, Urban Legend? That's like late 90s, early 2000s.
Maybe early 2000s. I don't know. That's probably from the same era.
Yeah. Like, do people look back on that and I Know What You Did Last Summer?
I know that there's beginning to be a little nostalgia. So I know that In Search of Darkness is doing a sequel about the 90s.
Yeah.
But so I know that there's nostalgia for the 90s is beginning.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's some good movies in the early 90s because they basically feel like 80s movies. Child's Play. Child's Play. Well, first one's first one's 1990, I think. I forget.
Child's Play?
Yeah.
No, it caught it just at the end of the 80s.
88, 89, yeah. But Child's Play 2. I mean,
definitely
the best one. But I mean, you have good horror films in the early 90s, but by the late 90s, they started feeling like you could see the quality dipping. And I just think it's an interesting thought. Yeah. Like, is this going to happen?
Is this going to be somebody's go-to
passion project,
nostalgia?
Like, think about the entries you're going to have to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be talking about, the Halloween Resurrections and H2Os and all of the Hellraiser Hellseeker, like all the shit from that early 2000s period. Jason X, Like it's such a dark period of horror where it was the worst entries in really all of these series. And
not
also
fun anymore.
And also bad filmmaking.
Yeah.
Just like the decline of filmmaking as an art in this period, right? So do you want to kickstart my new one? What would we call it? In Search of Darkness. In search of what? In search of garbage.
Search of grunge.
Yeah. In search of garbage. Search of garbage. Instead of darkness, kind of sounds similar. Yeah, that's my idea. What else would you like to give, Mark? Because I mean, you love this movie.
Oh, love.
This is your Curse of Chucky for this franchise.
No, again, I just if you. I would never recommend any of these.
But like, what makes this better than Inferno, I guess is my question. Because it's very similar. Like what?
I liked what they did with the character. I liked the punishment. Felt a little bit more...
deserved?
Yeah. I liked how they kind of wrapped up his story that he was trying to do something terrible. And in doing so, he got bested by the person he was trying to kill off. I found like in the previous entry, the punishment I didn't really get the sense that it kind of came around full circle. Whereas with this one, he's a terrible person, and we get to see the people that have been close to him getting killed off over and over again. And those are the 5 victims that ultimately she trades for herself. I don't know. I just thought it kind of wrapped up a little bit better. They're very similar movies. I just felt like this one was a little bit more effective at what it was trying to do. Like if you're going to watch a movie and you just want to watch a bit of a psychological thriller. I know you don't like psychological thrillers very much. You can kind of sit down and watch this. It's not going to blow your socks off, but at least you can watch it and be like, okay, like I got something out of that.
I just hate it for the same reason I hate Inferno, because it's just a pointless movie where it's you the whole time. So you're just watching an hour and a half of a guy running around, things happening to him, but none of it's real anyways until it is real in the last couple minutes. And it's like, there's just so much shots of just like, you're seeing all these weird things, but none of it's real. You know, none of it's actually happening. Everyone's acting like an alien. Like no one, like he's the only one acting normal. Everyone's acting just cartoonish and over the top. No one's acting like normal. Like everyone, the women are all throwing themselves at him. And it's like, it's hard to invest my time into this. So it's like, this would work. The whole movie, same thing with Inferno. It feels like a really long version of a Freddy's Nightmares episode. Yeah. And it's like, this works as like a 30-minute short film kind of thing, but like as a long fucking whole feature-length film, it's like everything's just pointless anyways. So it's like, it makes me hate it.
Remember, it's not necessarily so much that this one is the third best. It's just that sometimes there are others that are even worse. And I think this one gets propped up simply because I didn't find it as awful as some of the other ones. I mean, that's...
that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. I just feel like you put it very, very high.
Yeah.
That's like criminally so.
I wouldn't watch this and Inferno. You can get away with watching one or the other. I think that between the two, this one is probably
I don't like either of them, but I would take Inferno over this.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think because Inferno, the Cenobites, so like, let's get back to the Cenobites here. This is, once again, is a film that was accused of taking a script that had nothing to do with the Cenobites and then injecting them. Cenobites have less than 5 minutes of screen time total.
Yeah. Yeah, but
they're hardly in this movie.
How much are they in the
all.
first one, though?
Oh, like 30 minutes.
Get out.
Well, they're in there like more than... Well, they're in there... No, because they're in there for sure like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
The last 20 minutes of the movie. They're in the movie like 45 minutes. It's like half the movie.
They start and finish that thing.
Yeah, they show them playing chess and other things. It keeps cutting back to the hell world, and they're like, so what are you up to?
Yep. No, again, like I said at the start, I think your opinion on these two in particular is going to come down to whether or not you needed something else from this franchise. And at this point, I was very happy to have... You accused me of this with Curse of Chucky. Like,
rightfully so.
You only like it because of what came before it. In that particular instance, I would say I did like that movie. In this particular instance, you might be right. It might be just the fact that by this point, I'm like, I just need something else.
It put a different taste
else.
in your mouth. Yeah. I think if you watch these on their own, you'd be like, oh, these suck.
I don't know whether I would say that either of these two would be the first one I would go back to if I was going to watch another one again.
I should fucking hope not.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's other entries that are better for varying reasons.
Getting halfway into this franchise, I needed this to be different because I was not buying where this was going.
Did you like the detective character that's in the movie just to pad out the runtime? Because there's like some stupid subplot where the detective's like, we're supposed to feel tension, right? Because nothing's real anyways, but we're supposed to feel tension. So Trevor's like, oh no, I got to watch out for this detective guy. And the detective guy the entire time is like, I got my eye on you. I think you murdered Kirsty. But then it just turns out he's just like a juba.
He's just a son of He's the two-headed one? That guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like he's nothing anyways. Yeah. So it's like, oh, so you just exist to pad out the runtime. So again, on rewatch, these would be painful to rewatch. Because it's like there's nothing really. What are you getting out of it?
That's Hellraiser.
Maybe that's true of the entire series.